Hello everyone, my name is Akira. I'm a pianist, piano teacher, and a translator who's lived in 3 different countries. In my channel, I'm posting videos of my performances, topics related to and not related to music. If you haven't done so, please hit subscribe and notification buttons so you won't miss my future videos. Music is often compared to language, so today I'm going to talk about music and language, how they're similar and how they're different from a perspective of a trilingual pianist and a professional translator. Before I start, as usual, I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons on patreon.com. Now I have 10 awesome patrons who are always with me trying to make these videos more regularly. And if you're kind enough to support me for $3 or $10 per month, I'll leave a link to my Patreon page in description. Most of you already know that I lived in 3 different countries in my life, because I always say that in the beginning. But I've never shown you how fluent I am in each language, and today's topic is related to that. So I'm going to introduce myself in Japanese and Korean just so you can see. Oh boy, this is gonna take a while. 皆さんこんにちは。アメリカでピアニスト、ピアノ教師、翻訳者をやっている池上彰です。このチャンネルには演奏のビデオや音楽に関するトピック、音楽とは関係ないトピックに関するビデオを載せているので、ぜひチャンネル登録お願いします. 여러분 안녕하십니까? 미국에서 피아니스트, 피아노 인스트럭터, 통역자를 하고 있는 이케가미 아키라라고 합니다. 이 채널에서는 제 연주 그리고 음악에 관한 비디오하고 음악에 관해 없는 비디오를 놓고 있습니다. 채널 등록 잘 부탁합니다. Yes! Now is a good time to hit that like button. Now that you actually know I speak 3 different languages, let's talk about music and language. For me, music is not like language at all. Music is a language. A lot of things I do in music and my teaching is based on this philosophy. So I wanted to talk about this for a long time on YouTube. But first I had to establish my channel, I had to show you I can actually play and teach, then you'll actually believe me. But now that I have 10,000 subscribers, I think it's time to talk about this. Suzuki method is largely based on this concept. In this method, students won't learn how to read music until much later, but rather they listen to the teacher and imitate how she or he is playing, and develop your ears and good taste for music first. I myself went through Book 1 training for Suzuki method, and there are a lot of things I can agree on, but there are certain things I couldn't agree on, so I didn't choose to become a Suzuki teacher, and now I'm not even licensed in it. I'll talk about my opinion on this method in a future video. So how is music language? If you look at the learning process, language and music is pretty much same to me. 3 years ago, Amazon Stork delivered us the new bundle Monster for us. Since then, I've been witnessing her development every day as she learns her first language. And a lot of that is really trial and error, because you see a lot of people around you talking, and it's hugely inconvenient for you not to be able to talk. The baby tries to talk, and first they start making some weird noise. And then those noise becomes a little bit like some words. The key here is that every single day is a learning moment for them. They're observing and practicing every single day. And after 3 years of doing that, she can finally say some sentences that make sense. It's still not perfect, but I can understand what she's trying to say, for the most part. Does this sound something like music? I'm assuming 99.9% of you guys who are watching this video already speak at least one language fluently. And maybe 0.1% of you are probably a baby whose parents are crazy enough to show my videos to you, hoping that they'll learn music naturally. It may happen or it may not happen. So if you think about how you learn the first language, or for people like me, second and third languages, then a lot of things about piano studies start making sense. First, you start with baby steps. You'll learn how to curve your fingers and try to make a good sound. After that, you can start reading notes and take a little bit of shortcut. Babies can't do that when they learn the first languages. My baby's unfortunately not like, "Father, I would like to learn ABCs, could you teach me?" But she just learns whatever the most inconvenient thing I say, like when I drop something I say, "Oh," and she's always like, "Oh." But because most of us start learning piano at a later stage, we can use notes to eliminate some of the trial and errors. But there's still a lot of imitation going on. In that process, what we can do as a piano teacher for you is to give you advice so you don't have to do all the trial and errors, but you can take some shortcut. We can advise you in the way you can practice most efficiently to get your goal. But a lot of development happens through everyday practice. A lot of my students are ambitious and sometimes they ask me, hey, I don't feel like I'm making any progress. And I often answer, well, you've been studying only for 3 months. Think about how you learn the language first. I didn't learn English in 3 months, or I didn't learn piano in 3 months either. It takes a lot of time to learn music, just like it takes a lot of time to learn a language. But hopefully with the right instruction, you can learn much quicker than learning a first language. But the good news from this is anybody can learn music at any age to a certain degree. Just like anybody can learn a language at any age. You may not be a fluent native speaker, but I didn't speak language when I was a child either. The first time I came to US, I was 17 already. And I know a lot of people who came to this country much later, but I can communicate with them just fine. So even if you didn't start as a child, you can still learn music and you can still enjoy it. But if you do start early, that is definitely an advantage, but I don't think it's a must. One thing I recommend to all the learners is to listen to music all the time. And you don't have to actively listen to your music. You can just play it in the background, and as you hear the music, your brain's observing little by little. Like I said, our baby is not listening to us actively, but rather passively, and picks up whatever she wants. So if you hear good classical music in the background, you'll start observing little by little. So let's talk about how music is not like language. I guess the biggest difference is that music is not life necessity. As you grow up, if you can't communicate with other human beings, that's going to be hugely inconvenient for you. It may be impossible to live. So that's why we all learn first language, no matter what. I have never met any other person who couldn't speak any language at all in any form. But music is a little different. Even if you couldn't play music, you can still live. You can still listen and enjoy it though, but you don't necessarily have to play it yourself to sustain your life. That's why I think it's very hard for some students to motivate themselves to practice every day. I'm a firm believer that if you practice every day and listen to your teacher, you should be able to learn music to a certain degree. And this goes for everyone. But you don't have the same dire necessity as learning language. It's very hard for some students to have discipline to do that. And I myself was one of them, so that's why I understand how the students feel. But what I want people to focus on is just like anybody can learn at least one language. Anybody should be able to learn language to a certain degree if you practice every day and if you get the right advice from the teacher. I cannot guarantee that everybody is gonna be the world famous pianist, but I strongly believe that anybody should be able to play the music and enjoy. Another aspect where music is different from a language is that music does not express anything specific. You can say something very specific in a language, like I like an apple, or I don't like Apple as a company that keeps selling me expensive electric devices and I have to keep buying because I need it for my work. But in music, what you get from certain music is totally up to you. Some music do have words, they're called songs, and you sing them to communicate certain things. But most of instrumental music don't have words to it. So interpretation is totally up to you. And that's the beauty of it. You can imagine whatever you want from the music. Music can convey certain mood like bright, dark, quick, energetic, calm. But after that, it's totally up to the listener. But if you think about it, is a language that precise all the time? For example, my wife and I always have this communication issue like all the husbands and wives in the world. When she said, "Do you need help making dinner?" that means it's time for dinner, cook. When she says, "Are you doing anything right now?" that means I have a chore for you. When she says, "Go away," that means I love you, or maybe just go away. See? Even language can be interpreted in so many ways. That brings us back to music is a language. Alright. So that's my opinion about music and language after learning 4 languages: Japanese, English, Korean, and music. Like I said, a lot of things I do in music and teaching is based on this concept, so I just wanted everybody to know. If you keep this concept in mind, my videos may make more sense to you. The key takeaway from this video is anybody should be able to learn music if you do it in a certain way, but you're gonna have to be very humble and expect a long-term learning. But if you do it every day, just like you did for learning the first language, you should be able to learn language to a level where you can really enjoy it. This is not a scientifically proven fact, but this is what I see every day in my studio, and this is what I experience in my lifetime. If you enjoyed this video, as usual, please hit the like button so YouTube will know this is a good content and start spreading to other people as well. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section. I still enjoy everybody's comments. If you still haven't done so, Please hit subscribe and notification button so you won't miss my future videos. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. 皆さんこんにちは。アメリカでピアニスト、ピアノ教師、翻訳者をやっている池上彰です。このチャンネルでは演奏のビデオやトピック related このチャンネルでは演奏のビデオや音楽に関するトピック、音楽とは関係ないトピックに関するビデオを乗っけ여러분 안녕하십니까? 미국에서 피아니스트, 피아노 인스트럭터, 여러분 안녕하십니까? 미국에서 피아니스트, 피아노 폭력자, what is that?